members, and everyone that has loved our Married and Powerful. I am Lanika, the counselor.
I'm Kareem, the professor.
This is our second episode, and we're going to scratch what we said that the second episode was going to be. And we want to deal with emotional baggage today because everybody deals with it. We've dealt with it. Everybody is carrying around baggage these days. So we want to talk about what baggage is.
All right. So, of course, when it comes to baggage, we're going to emphasize on different things such as emotional baggage, physical baggage, spiritual baggage. There's all kind of baggage that you can bring into a relationship that can cause problems on down the road. But right now we want to kind of emphasize on some of the emotional parts of the baggage that can cause problems within a relationship, friendship, marriage, or whatever.
We're going to talk about what the definition of baggage is, okay? So, I've looked it up in the Urban Dictionary, and the first definition is painful memories, mistrust, and hurt carried around from past sexual or emotional rejection. And then the second one is an excuse commonly used by men, immature men that is, to avoid commitment yet maintain a sexual relationship. Now, how many men out there have done that? We know of men, I know of men, we've done that in our past lives before we were single. Emotional baggage is a big issue when going into a relationship. Now, we want to talk about the baggage that, we had coming into our relationship. I know for me, I was just coming out of a bad marriage, abusive relationship, and I definitely had baggage. I didn't trust him. I didn't want to be in a relationship, really. I just, it was kind of like, I want to do what I want to do because I was carrying hurt from the past relationship. And it had been multiple things in that past relationship that caused me to have that emotional baggage. And these days, so many people with this chronic dating, we have these dating sites. You go on so many dates. There's a lot of women that's single, a lot of men that's single that does not want to be in a relationship. There's a lot of chronic dating going on where it's dating for years and years and years. And, so there's millions of people walking around with baggage. And, of course, this is stuff that you cannot see. You won't see it at first date, second date, third date. You might see one bag, but you won't see everything that person is carrying.
We tend to keep that stuff, we're trained to keep that stuff well hidden, out of sight, out of mind. Only thing about baggage, though, eventually it's going to pop up, and eventually that bag is going to get popped open because it got so much, stuff in there. So eventually it's going to pop open. It's going to come out anyway. So, really, the sooner that you get to the baggage, or the sooner you open that baggage, the better, in my opinion.
But everybody doesn't know how to, get to that point. And I believe that open communication should be one of the tools. With him, he was very patient with me. I would cry all the time because of the past. I had to talk it out, and I'm sure he got tired of me talking about my old relationship. But he never told me to shut up or be quiet. He never, made me feel like I shouldn't be talking to him about it because what he carried wasn't him or anything like that. He allowed me to go through that time. And I cried on his shoulder plenty of times, and he allowed me to do that. Of course, you don't want to expose your baggage to everyone, but if there's someone that you can trust and that you can start talking those things out and unloading, because, him coming with baggage, you coming with baggage, that's just, and some things are more serious than others. That's why we see people, that show we have called Snapped, and then I watch a lot of Investigation ID, and that baggage can cause you to explode, and you need to deal with those things before going into a relationship. You don't want to get, and I'm talking on the woman part, you don't want to get into a relationship. You have so much anger from your past relationship that you projected onto this relationship, and you end up snapping because it happens. I mean, you know, we said we were going to talk about real things, and this is a real issue. You know, there's a lot of women out here that's been taking care of their families on their own for years, and then they get a man, and then the man wants to be the, you know, he wants to be the alpha when she's been the alpha all this time, and you know, she's experienced bad relationships. If she has kids, then the father walked away, or either he did, you know, something happened in that relationship.
So
you know, and
exactly. So I'm not to cut you off, but that's like that ingrains mistrust. You know, because as she just alluded to, you know, it's been in our culture, especially, you know, predominantly African American culture. I mean, let's be honest, where there's a lot of absenteeism as it relates to you know, male figures in the home and different things like that. So just like she was saying, yes, a lot of the women, like over generations. Of course, this doesn't just happen overnight. This goes across generations and eons. So, you know, with that being said, that's just constant baggage, mistrust, miscommunication, not wanting to trust a man, you know, and that just kind of boils over into the kind of situations we have now, which, you know, I don't need a man to do this. I don't need, you know, nobody to do this for me. I got this all on my own. Just craziness.
We're not implying that the woman nor the man has to lose themselves or anything like that. We're just saying that, you know, in order to have a successful relationship, these are the type of things that needs to be dealt with prior to getting into the relationship. If you cannot talk openly with your significant other during the dating period, you know, and you don't want to wear them out the first and second, but as soon as you start seeing it going serious, I like to be real. So I would be upfront and say, look, this is how it is. You know, for instance, let's have a scenario. Okay. Well, no, I'll talk about myself with Kareem. Okay. I had a daughter. So I needed to know that he was going to treat my daughter like she was his. That was nothing to be negotiated for me. You know, and the baggage that came with that is she has a father, you know, and he's not in her life, but at some point he may come back. So we talked about that. You know, we talked about all of that. I needed to know how he felt about that. I needed to know he was going to treat my daughter like she was his, because that's a deal breaker. That was a deal breaker. I needed to know that when we had kids, there was not going to be any difference, because I grew up in a family that was mixed. You know, my mom had 2 kids when my parents got married, and my dad had 1. And then my mom and my dad got married, and they had me and my brother. So, you know, but there was no stepdaughter, you know, it was all, you know what I mean? Everybody, it was, unless we really told you, then you wouldn't have known. And that's how I wanted my family to be. Since I had a daughter, that was important to me. And I've seen women that they won't even tell the man that they have children, or they're okay with having the man and not have him being the male figure in their life. Even if they have a father, that's even a double benefit for them to have a male figure in the home. And make sure that he is the right role model that you want for your kids. You don't want him teaching your kids how to sell drugs. You don't want him molesting your daughter. You don't want him mistreating your children when you're not there. You don't want him, you know, there's so many cases where women meet men and, you know, the men beat and kill the child while they're at work or something like that. You know, there are signs, and you have to pay attention. This is all these things that we talking about right now is baggage. Oh my goodness. Baggage. Sometimes some people are great pretenders and you will never know. But when you see those signs, trust those signs. Trust those signs. I was in an abusive relationship. I knew he was abusive before I ever married him. But I married him anyway. See, I know exactly how that goes. You love him, you think he gonna change, whatever. You cannot change. Anything that you're tolerating now before marriage, it's gonna get worse in marriage, because now they're comfortable. Yep. You're gonna be on each other's nerve even more. I mean, we have had knockdown, drag out, you know, and some of the stuff is baggage. Like for him, for instance, what is some of the baggage you brought into the marriage?
Well, my thing is, now see, my wife, I was never. She's the longest relationship I've ever had. You know what I mean? So I was never. I was clueless when it came to relationships because I was always young, single, bachelor kind of guy in the military, different things like that. Out on my own. So I never really pursued relationships. You know what I mean? I've had acquaintances and I that kind of thing. You understand what I'm saying when I say that? But I mean I never really settled down, nothing like that. That just wasn't my MO. Is because and that's kind of basically any baggage that you have or whatever kind of personality you have. A lot of times it's shaped from things from your past, your childhood and things like that. Some things. You just see, you just pick up on. Some things are genetics. But my thing is, the reason why I wasn't good with relationships or because I never really saw, for the most part, I never really saw healthy relationships, marriage, a wholesome marriage, between a husband and wife. I've seen a lot of situations where I've seen a lot of boyfriend-girlfriend scenarios or people living together, things like that. So I didn't really have a blueprint to go on. So a lot of stuff that I learned or know now, trial and error. And she kind of stuck. She's sticking with me as far as that because I'm still learning. You know what I mean? But that's just one of the pieces of baggage that I have. So with that and that also leads into intimacy or whatever, because like I said, along with not being in serious relationships, I never really knew what it was like to just really care for somebody or really love somebody like that. And that's what it is. Like I said, trial and error with me and her. And as I said, it's a learning process, man. I'm being married. I've learned a lot and still learning a lot about myself, and some things that get on my some things I aggravate myself with some of the things that I do, and I'm glad to have somebody like her just kind of be willing to stick around and all that, and realize whatever potential I got inside of me. You feel me?
And another thing is intimacy for the people that's already married and like us, it took us a long time to get to a certain level of intimacy because of all the things that we brought into the relationship and because of other past sexual experiences that we've had. That is one reason why I know that the Lord meant for it to be one man and one woman always, instead of you having all these different sexual experiences and then you settle down with one person. It took us a little while to get to a certain level of intimacy, right? I feel like,
Yeah.
That's supposed to be in marriage, that, you don't necessarily just go out and, you would have with just any random person. So I felt like, once we were able to deal with some of the things that, and it wasn't all the time that we knew what it actually was, but something might trigger, we might have an argument and I'll be thinking about it later on and be like, that's why I responded like that because of this. And I said that I wasn't going to be tolerating that and, all that stuff. But I feel like, and I know for me, I have prayed, Lord, please, I'm married. I want to experience this with my husband. I want to be experienced. And we talk about intimacy now. And I think just talking with each other and being open, that's one thing that I can say that we've always been is open. That's one thing that drew me to him, that I could talk to him about anything, and he reminded me a lot of my dad, because I talk to my dad about pretty much anything. So being able to talk to him about anything really made me feel like, this is really cool. And anyway, being able to just talk about things, some things are uncomfortable to talk about, like
one thing in particular. It's been times where my wife, one of her things that she likes is to be kissed, and
real kiss.
Yeah. So we're not just talking about little pecks. We're talking about kind of kisses that originated from France. You know what I mean? So, so she likes that. You know what I mean? And you know, I guess. I don't know. I just had some. I just got like a mental block when it comes to that. I don't know why. I mean, you know, and that's one of the things that she like, and I'm like, well, and years later in marriage, I'm still like struggling with that. You know, we still struggle with stuff. I mean, we still. You probably will never just completely get rid of the baggage. I mean, you can empty some stuff out to make the load lighter and more manageable, but you'll just, I don't think you can ever just really completely get rid of the baggage. And so that's something I got to work on, man. Like that whole, you know, she likes those deep, passionate kisses that you see in the fairy tales and daggone the movies. Yeah, you know, so she.
Now, don't get me wrong, he will kiss me, but you won't see us out in public kissing. You won't see him just come in the house and grab me and kiss me. You know. So anyway, but that's just one thing. But I feel like as long as you have commitment, you want someone that has commitment. That's not a commitment phobia, because that's the number one thing. I always say you can love anybody, but commitment is what makes a relationship work. What makes the relationship work. Because we can love each other and split up. There's several people that has divorced and still love each other. Yeah. But commitment to making it work, commitment to working through all of the bumps in the roads, commitment to working through all of the baggage, and I didn't leave him because he didn't want to just throw me up against the wall and kiss me, you know. So, I mean, those are the things that you have to be willing to go. Everything's not going to be perfect. And I tell my friends, my single friends, love seems like a fairy tale, but it is not a fairy tale. It is real. You have to know how to love someone, how to be committed to someone through their ups and their downs. I mean, we've been through so many things, and as these episodes go on, we will talk about many things that we've been through. I'm talking about things that he should have left, we should not be together. Not infidelity or anything like that, but I'm talking about just struggling in the relationship and things that come up, so we want to talk about things like that.
And she brings that up, and I could segue into like another one of the pieces of baggage that I got is I've seen different relationships or couples or whatever where you got sometimes you got the strong-willed lady or something, and you got the more subdued, passive male or whatever that just kind of sometimes you'll see the woman kind of in his ear yap nagging and like just like tearing him down. Well, I guess with me, I see that, and I'm like, I'm just, like I said, baggage accumulates over years. So I'm talking about, like, way before I even got married, when I was living, back in my hometown or whatever, you see things, you hear things. And so I'm the type, I'm like, man, listen, I'm going to argue back. We gonna have a shouting match. I'm going to get my point across, and I don't care how long we gotta be mad at each other, because you're not just gonna come at me crazy and expect me not to say something. I gotta defend myself in some form or fashion. I've had to, and that comes from, like I said, that comes from a lot of times where, as a younger person, you might get confronted with situations, and you don't always have the forum to speak up or talk back. And shoot, like I said, that can have an effect on you. So that, like I said, your past shapes who you are today. And now I don't regret anything, about my past, because, my past made me who I am today. So now, like, you can't just put something past me like I'm just some old, schmuck that came out of nowhere. I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna talk back. I'm gonna argue back. We're gonna have a knock down, drag out verbally, but in the end we can make up. But like I said, that's just another piece of baggage that accumulated over the years.
That has had an effect on our marriage, because You know, if I try to tell him something, if it's in the form of a directive, you know, we almost got to get into an argument for him to even pay attention to it. And so, you know, I tell you, it's work because, and I often tell him, look, you know, I'm married to you. I am not I don't know who you think that is speaking to you, but you know, it could be something so simple, and I can say it in the nicest way, and he's just so snappy with it. But you know, he's not the only man that I saw do that, you know. But and then you know, women too. You know, we you know, sometimes women just, you know, and I've been guilty of that, just going in, and sometimes I don't even care. It depends on how my hormones are that week. You know what I mean? But you know, but you have to take time and be like, you know, I came at him all kind of wrong, and I don't like apologizing, but I will. I'll go back and say, well, I'm sorry, babe. You know, I shouldn't have came at you like that, and vice versa. He always, you know, he'll apologize to me too. So I feel like if you can get over those humps, because you know, baggage spawns a lot of things. It spawns arguments. It spawns distrust. It spawns
what's the first two things you said? Distrust and
arguments.
I mean, resentment, anger, because when you I don't know, man. You know, when you hold a lot of things in, that's not good for anybody. You know, it's kind of like a wound. You know, you gotta. Sometimes you gotta open that thing up, allow it to breathe, so it can heal. I mean, likewise, you know, with a lot of baggage, you can't just like, you know, push baggage in the attic somewhere. Sometimes you gotta freaking, you know, you gotta expose that, man, and like kind of get it out on the table. Like, listen, man, this is what I'm dealing with. You know, just kind of take it for what it is. Like, you know, one of the things that I liked about Lanika is that you know, when we first, you know, before we like actually got together, you know, we had talked about, you know, each other, what you know, each other's flaws or whatever. And my thing is, you know, I accepted, you know, whatever she told me and whatever I told her. Like, I accepted whatever flaws that she had, and likewise she accepted, you know, the one flaw that I had. So,
no.
With that being said, you gotta make sure that you just talk about the baggage, because if not, you know, it'll fester, and you gotta make sure that you don't let it get to that point.
One flaw, okay. Well, I think that's enough for this second episode. I hope that you all enjoyed. We talked about baggage. We want to start taking questions. We've already received some. So if you can, we're going to, you know, answer those things in the weeks to come. We're going to try to do one every other week. So stay tuned. Mark it on your calendars. Subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Share us. Share the videos. When you see the videos, tag people in it. Share people in it. You know, share with your friends and family. We want to make this, you know, a big thing. We want to make it a forum so people can talk. And like we said before, we're going to have other guest couples on here. So stay tuned.
All right. And once again, we are
married and powerful,
baby.